Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up the USA view. WeHo and Fire Island face backlash for lowering pride flags over Charlie Kirk's death. In a move that stunned the queer community and this reporter across the country, pride and transgender flags in West Hollywood and Fire Island were lowered to half-staff this weekend following the death of far-right activist Charlie Kirk. The action came after a September 10th proclamation from President Donald Trump ordering all U.S. flags on public grounds to be flown at half-staff until September 14th. While some states, including New York and New Jersey, did not fully comply, flags in historic queer neighborhoods did, which has sparked outrage. In West Hollywood's Matthew Shepard Square, both the trans and progress pride flags were lowered. According to WeHo Times, someone posted a sign there reading, quote, "Shame on West Hollywood for lowering our flags in honor of a racist, transphobic, homophobic, Nazi-loving monster," end quote. City officials acknowledged community anger, but said they acted in accordance with Trump's order and local policy. The statement read, quote, "The city's action should not be interpreted as an expression of alignment with or endorsement of Mr. Kirk's political views," end quote, adding that the city council will review its flag policies going forward. Meanwhile, in Cherry Grove on Fire Island, the Black and Brown Equity Coalition condemned the lowering of pride flags at the dock. The group shared on Instagram, quote, "Don't make our joy honor our oppressor," end quote, citing Kirk's history of calling queer people a, quote, "a middle finger to God," end quote, and advocating violence against queer people. Even within the gayest place on earth, Wilton Manors, the rainbow pride and transgender pride flags flown at City Hall were at half-mast. Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, was shot and killed last week in Utah. Known for his anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, he once demanded doctors providing gender-affirming care face Nuremberg-style trials. For many, the half-staff flags felt like salt in an open wound. And I agree. You know, honestly, the president ordered U.S. flags to be lowered to half-staff. And I think it's unconscionable that cities like Wilton Manors, cities like, in Fire Island, in L.A., where there are large gay populations, that those flags would be lowered as well. I guarantee the city of Miami Beach did not lower their pride flags because they buck the state and federal government often. But it's kind of like a slap in the face that demonstrates that because our flags are at half-staff, we are mourning him, which, nobody should die in that terrible, violent way. I don't approve of that violence by any stretch, but I also am not honoring him.
Right. Yeah, and in these places, they didn't align themselves with Kirk, but they aligned themselves with Drumpf, which is the same thing. And all I can do is shake my head at some of our leaders' inability to defy that orange malignancy. It's just shocking. It's embarrassing and it's shameful. I want to say thank you to New York and to New Jersey, and like you mentioned, to Miami for saying no.
In the hypocrisy, we had a politician, not an activist, and I'm not saying one is better than the other, but we had someone who was voted and elected, Melissa Hortman,
in Minnesota.
A House Speaker from Minnesota. She and her husband and their dog were assassinated.
Nothing.
And nothing. And no calls for, finding out who did it. Nothing from the president, to my knowledge.
They're hypocrites. They live on a double standard. And, again, I don't condone this kind of violence in any way, shape, or form. But Charlie Kirk himself said, the Second Amendment is so important that a few gun deaths are acceptable in order for us to have the Second Amendment. So, he died for his cause.
And they were talking about gun violence right before he was shot.
Right.
Right, exactly. And, I think that this should be a lesson to a lot of lawmakers that really thoughts and prayers do not save lives.
No.
That is a big LGBTQ story for today, and there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.